Hi, in this video, I will introduce how to import a file created as an asset into another file. I will explain the process using the background object file created in the previous video. I hope this will be helpful in some way. Since I've made a slight adjustment to the contents of this file, I'll start by organizing the data. The current scene has a simple structure consisting of the background object and two lights. When importing into another file, all elements in this scene will be loaded, so I'll remove any unnecessary items beforehand. This time, I've deleted the lights, leaving only the background object. If the object has color or surface properties such as roughness or metalness, adjusting them beforehand can make the asset easier to use. For clarity, I've set the color to white and set both roughness and metalness to 0. I will also change the names of the objects in the scene to something more recognizable. Next, this is about the object's position relative to the world. If the object is offset from the center of the world, that positional information will also be imported as is. Similarly, the position of the gizmo is retained as it is. If the gizmo is offset from the object's center, it can be harder to work with later, so adjusting it to the center or to the bottom center can make the asset easier to use, in my opinion. You can reset it to the center using either auto or center. Using move origin allows the object to be reset to the center of the world based on the gizmo position. Although I've applied some post-process settings, they are not imported and can be adjusted individually in the file you're importing into, so leaving them as they are isn't a problem. For clarity, I turned off the checkbox. Now that the file has been organized, it is saved using Save As. I change the name to something clear and tap OK. The creation of the background asset file is complete. Next, I create a new file as the import destination. Since this is a new file, the scene consists only of a quad sphere. I add the asset file saved earlier to this file. Add to Scene is tapped. Since I take frequent backups for YouTube recording, the file list looks a bit messy, but you can just ignore that. I select the file saved earlier, which is located in the top left, and tap Yes. The positional information relative to the world is also reflected correctly. As another example, I try using add to scene with this file I created for shorts videos. This file contains multiple objects including lights in the scene, and the post process is also turned on. Let's see what happens when add to scene is used with this file. The post-process settings remain unchanged, and only the background object has been added. In the scene, it has been added at the bottom of the list. I try adjusting the object position as well as the background object's color and surface properties. In this way, by positioning the background at the center beforehand, adjusting object placement becomes easier and the asset becomes easier to use. Lastly, another method that makes file management easier will be introduced. We are now back with the background object asset file open again. Just now, the file was saved inside the app folder using Save As. But it is also possible to save a Nomad file to any folder outside the app. Nomad is selected from Export. In Include, detailed settings are available, such as keeping the entire scene, only visible objects, or only selected objects. If you configure this at the time of export, the scene cleanup that I performed at the beginning is not necessary. I tap Export to Nomad. Since I had created an empty folder named Nomad Asset outside the app in advance, I export the file there. I will give a brief explanation of the folder structure. When a file is saved using Save As in Nomad Sculpt, it is stored in the app's Projects folder. This is the save location I confirmed on my iPad, so it may vary slightly depending on your device or OS. It's especially likely to be different on Windows, so I recommend checking it in your own environment. Since I created the Nomad asset folder outside the app's folder this time, it can be one way to manage asset files more easily. Also, it should make it easier to transfer your files when changing devices and to use them with other apps. However, files saved outside the app's folder cannot be opened directly from Open within the app, so that point should be noted. Back to the tutorial. I create a new file again. I import the file exported earlier. By tapping Add to Scene, the background object can be added to the current scene. If New Project is selected, any unsaved data in the current file will be lost, and the background asset file will open, so caution is required. It has been added successfully. Since I am using the iPad version, file management can sometimes feel a bit difficult. But with the desktop version, which is managed on a computer, it should be even easier. Try it according to your own environment. I hope this was helpful in some way.